That's a great segue to the next part of Shine a Light, where we're going to be joined by a very special guest to talk about the youth organizations working in this space and really transforming that lived experience for young people that Leticia alluded to. And we're very, very lucky to be joined by the actor Jason Isaacs. Now, Jason may be best known for his role as Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter, so that's playing a baddie. But I can tell you, over the last few weeks talking about this event, he's definitely one of life's good guys. He's been a long-time supporter of refugee rights, fighting against political extremism, and also for a just and equitable peace in the Middle East, and particularly around this role of youth. So Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, I don't know if it's worse being an evil wizard or being what I've been most of my life, John, which is a terrible cynic. I mean, like many people watching, I'm sure I've had my hopes raised and dashed throughout my life for hope in the Middle East. And I'm feeling a bit nervous, oddly, for someone who probably performs more than other people, because my foundations are shaking. The people I've met through you the last couple of days when we rehearsed and are beginning to make me feel like there's a chance that something better can happen. And obviously our generation, I'm older than you, my generation maybe, have failed terribly. But tonight we're meeting people that make me feel that maybe the seeds of hope are planted. I do want to say one thing before we go into the panel, though, because it's something that occurred, that I was continually stumbling over. You don't get any of this money, right? Allmet doesn't get any of the money that you're raising from Congress, and you want money tonight. This is a fundraiser. Let's not forget. You're after people giving you money so that you can free up funds for many other countries. Am I getting that right?
That's exactly right, Jason.
Okay, good. Because there might be people watching thinking, well, that's all very well, but why should I donate when hundreds of millions of dollars are coming? You don't get a penny of it. This is all whatever you raise tonight and any other fundraising efforts in order to free up money from hopefully now a bunch of other countries around the world who are expressing interest.
Exactly. If we can do it, if we can be resourced properly to do this work next year, we can bring more countries on board. Good.
That's how we expand. Okay, good. Fantastic. So, let's get on with the panel. You've given me a very, I know you're standing there with the stopwatch, so we're going to do some speed dating tonight. There's a panel here, Palestinian and Israeli youth have probably never been more separated. There's the physical barriers, the walls and the so many obstacles to them meeting physically, but psychologically, there's probably more hatred and division, mistrust than ever before. But there is a subset, there's an anomaly of people who have come through many of the extraordinary programs. We've only got a chance to meet a few people tonight who work with Palestinian and Israeli youth. But what I want you to, and they're under very strict instructions to not speak for very long. Any one of them could host an entire evening with the extraordinary work they do. But we're going to have a quick smorgasbord and let's see if they can further dismantle my cynicism. They're drawn from across Allmet's membership. And I just want you to imagine when you're talking to them, what could happen if these programs were expanded enormously. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry that I'm going to be rushing you like you're on the Today program. But first, we're going to talk to Jonathan Kabiri from Seeds of Peace, which is a camp program, if I understand it, summer camps and other camps, which you went through. You were in the first one. So what was it like for you going through as a camper, and how do you take that experience through and work with people today?
First of all, thank you, sir, for hosting this panel and for the support and for your question. So I was born after the Oslo Accords failure. And like most Israelis my age, I grew up hearing almost nothing about Palestinians and about the occupation. So I met Palestinians for the first time when I was 15. I went to Seeds of Peace summer camp, and I had the chance to engage in facilitated dialogue with them and learn about the reality of life under Israeli occupation. I've learned that the work of peace building in this region does not begin or end in one summer camp experience. It is a never-ending kind of personal work, and with Seeds of Peace, I learned how to ask questions and have this internal conversation with myself and with others about my identity, my responsibilities, choices, about my fears and my dreams. And I also found a community of so many more wonderful dreamers who, despite the hardships, work together in solidarity and partnership to create more dialogue spaces and to reimagine a region and a world that is free from all kinds of oppression. A world that is better also for house elves, Mr. Malfoy.
Thanks very much. And are you still in touch with any of the people you were at camp with when you were in 2011?
So yes, I am. It goes on and off with the years, and I've learned that the journey in this kind of work is a long range journey. and you can go more closer and take some distance to breathe. And overall, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Well, I'm desperate to ask you about romances, about Romeo and Juliet romances, but we don't have time, so I'll have to talk to you off. But thanks very much, Jonathan. Next, we're going to talk to Amira Sayed of Tomorrow's Women. I understand you work with young Palestinian women. It says here, I've got a bunch written me, a facilitation role. What does that mean? What do you do with young women, and how has the work you've done, has it led to them becoming leaders? How are they carrying that work forward into their communities?
Thank you for this question. At Tomorrow's Women, formerly called Creativity for Peace, we dedicate our mission to only working with young women, as you just mentioned, empowering them to lead their people to achieve peace and make a difference in their community. Since 2003, we have worked with hundreds of teenage girls from Palestine, Israel, and the United States. Our journey starts with a transformational summer camp in the US, where we, the facilitator, make sure that these young women have a safe space to share their personal stories about how living in a conflict has impacted their lives, and the expert facilitator to help them to shift their feelings of fears into empathy and respect by our unique method that we use in Tomorrow's Women that combined compassionate dialogue and art therapy. And we don't stop here. Their journey continues when these young women came back home from the camp from the US. We meet them in several seminars, and these seminars designed in a way to empower them and to provide them with knowledge, awareness, and all the tools they want to become the activists they want to be in their community.
So how long's the program been running for?
The program in the US for 3 weeks, and the follow-up program, the seminars, following a year, 1 year.
No, I mean, how long have you been around?
Me, myself?
No, I would never ask your age. That would be very rude. No, I mean, how long has the program been around?
Sorry, yes. Since 2003, the program started.
So are you seeing the fruits of that? Are you seeing women becoming leaders or becoming activists and achieving things?
Yes. So this is our vision, that these girls become tomorrow's women. And like many already have in our 18 years history, our alumni, they are already around the world, working across many sectors, speaking at the World Economic Forum, working in the United Nations and the Harvard negotiation. This is just a few examples. They are trying their best, promoting peace building to achieve peace when the occupation will end and justice and human rights prevail in Israel and Palestine. And this is how we believe we deserve to live. Thank you,
Amira. Thanks very much. Sorry to jump on, and I'm also getting things flashing up on the screen going, stop talking so much. Next, we're going to talk to Tamar Chai-Sagiv from the Perez Center for Peace and Innovation. I was lucky enough to see Shimon Peres speak before he died. I found him incredibly inspirational. All of his hope was for young people to save us. And the Middle East has got one of the youngest regions on earth. I think half the population are under 24. What do you see when you work with young people across the region, and what are your hopes for them?
So I have to say that I'm super excited from this panel. I'm inspired by each one of my colleagues here. And thank you also, sir, for the questions, because yeah, we're talking a lot about Israel-Palestine, but we also need to look around us about the region. The youth has a voice in the region, and this is what the Perez Center also is doing for the last 24 years, working locally and regionally and building tomorrow's future by bringing the young generation into joint project, either by sports or by entrepreneurship or environmental project. You name it. Any theme, any tool is something for us that we can use in order to bring them together to do something. This is how we define the Perez Center, not a think tank, as a do tank, because by doing, we believe that we can definitely break down those barriers and shape a better tomorrow for the people that lives in this region. In this field for the last 16 years, almost. And this is for me a huge journey, because I can echo my friend Jonathan here. He was born after the Oslo Accords. I was already a teenager, and not really in favor of the word peace. I had lots of, I would say, hatred towards the other. And through my job, this was the way I was compensating or changing the way I was educated to hate the other, and to change the reality for the younger generation that doesn't have those daily opportunities to come together, to look in the eyes of one another and really understand that they are human beings like us, that there are differences between us, but the differences are not to be a threat on each other. We need to accept those differences, but also understand that we share lots of things in common. So by doing all those joint projects for the last 24 years as the Paris Center for Peace, this is what we're doing. We're building the human infrastructure for a better tomorrow, for tomorrow's peace.
I'm sure he's looking down and thinking that he was right and that it was working. Just sadly, he wasn't around to see it. But I'm sorry, I've got to jump on, Tamal, because I'm going to talk to Rowan Abulafi of the Middle East Entrepreneurs of Tomorrow. And there's a link, because when I saw Shimon Peres, he talked almost exclusively about Twitter and Facebook and how he felt like the internet and technology was the future that was going to allow people to know each other across political divides and ignorance. So, Rowan, first of all, tell us some of what you do. What are some of the cool technological initiatives that your alumni are working on, and how this unique 21st century approach to peace building might bear fruit?
Thank you for your question. At Meet, we bring together and empower the Middle East entrepreneurs of tomorrow. We view technology as the common language between youth on both sides of the conflict, and more than that, as an important tool for future leaders and social entrepreneurs. In partnership with MIT since 2004, we teach teenagers computer science, entrepreneurship, and we foster skills, leadership, and teamwork in diverse settings. In a gradual process, we create a sense of community and connection, a positive experience for learning and working together. And this year, we're very proud that we've been doing that online. We have to remind ourselves that technology is not neutral, and it is our responsibility to positively use it to impact our societies. And that's exactly what our students and alumni are doing. They're using technology to fight the pandemic, to fight fake news, social norms, and even build houses on Mars. The potential is endless.
So wait, there are companies that have Arabs and Israelis in them that are out there. Tell us. We're almost out of time, so tell us something. Give us a company or a product that someone's made.
I think something that we're very proud of is our students building a Google Chrome extension to fight fake news. Especially this year, we've been seeing it all over the news, and this is something that our students are working hard to fight.
Right. I was hoping you were going to say they could beam us up somewhere. Obviously, and we're all
hopefully in a couple of years.
Me too. Okay, so I'm going to skip on. I know whoever's flashing signs, I know that I'm out of time, but I'm just not going to stop because we're very lucky to have we've got two more people to speak to. Hoda Barakat from Hansa Peace. Hoda, I hear this phrase a lot about dialogue. We foster dialogue. What does that mean, fostering dialogue? What do those conversations achieve? What have you seen them achieve? And it's the sort of conversations Israelis and Palestinians don't normally have. Where do you see that going, and what have you seen it going places?
Yeah, the dialogue process is a very long process. It takes years to master. In Hands of Peace, we use dialogue as our major tool to work with the youth, especially in their first encounters. They come in with a debate mindset, and we try to shift that into building trust, giving some space for that and letting it get out of the way, and then focus on the personal stories. Once you humanize the other, hear the personal stories, hear the pain and the suffering, you can no longer dismiss that and dismiss your responsibility in that pain, in that suffering. And you start to work together as a group to see where is your responsibility in lifting injustice, in creating a just peace, a human rights for everybody. And
I'm sorry, they're flashing, telling me to finish, but can I ask you one other thing? Are you ready for a ton of money? Can you expand? Are you ready to upscale?
Of course, we have many programming that is pending on money. And so we have a lot of ideas, a lot of staff, a lot of potential, a lot of alumni who are ready and eager. We just need some push to help us in the right direction. And I would like to add, as a Palestinian, I cannot afford to be a cynic. I remain a believer in peace, because that's the only way to have my rights, my justice, I cannot afford to be a cynic, and I hope you will change your mind after
it's happening as we speak.
Stories. And that's basically what's been driving me for the last 14 years, working with the youth, seeing those stories, those amazing transformations, such as Jonathan, such as Tamar. Those are very inspiring, and that's exactly what we need more of in this world.
Thank you, Ada. And finally, Sarah, don't feel pressurized that we're 10 minutes over. It's Sarah Aweda from Jerusalem Peace Builders. Jerusalem is at the very heart of everything. It's been at the heart of conflict for centuries, but it has a special role in this conflict. And the young residents, Jewish and Palestinian residents, live next to each other, but they're universes apart. Tell us about how you bring them together and what you hope to accomplish. And why I shouldn't be a cynic.
Thank you very much for your question. Let me start by the words of the great South African leader, Nelson Mandela, who famously said, if you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy, then you become partners. Nelson Mandela's words reflect the essence of Jerusalem Peace Builders approach. Our mission is to raise up a new generation of Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and Druze leaders who are committed to partnership and peaceful change. Our year-round programs focus on a triangle of transformation. This triangle of youth, parents, and also teachers, by developing these three key sectors and leadership, Jerusalem Peace Builders enters the heart of the society. We create all together, and we all face the conflict issues together. So we all create with our young leaders and become partners and create a multi-faith family filled with trust, support, and a safe space to share. Now, let's talk about a little bit, if we have time, about GPB's unique 4-year program.
I don't think we have got time for that. I'm getting big signs flashing up. What I would urge anyone to do, apart from give money tonight, is to look up any one of these programs, but also Sarah's, who I've cut short.
I just want to mention a small thing.
Go for it.
Okay, we work with students both in classrooms during the school year and during the summer. We'll help them to build themselves, understand their identities, how to communicate, and have leadership. I wish that I had this chance before. I wish that I was introduced to one of these old programs before. And I hope that one day in the future, my kids will get this chance. And my niece and nephew and everyone around me, every Palestinian, as a Palestinian, I say, because Palestinians and Israelis, we live in Jerusalem side by side, but we're far away because the land is in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict imposed the land, and the land is the main central part of each person's identity. So we hope someday we can negotiate identities and work together in peace. In Jerusalem Peace Builders, Alma, and all my colleagues over here, we walk this road every day together. So
okay. I've got to stop you, Sarah, but thank you so much. And so the walls of my cynicism are unquestionably cracking, but I do have to remind everyone watching that they do this extraordinary work on a very small section of the Israeli and Palestinian population. They're hoping to get a ton of money from America to be able to do it with more people, but unlocking money from the various other countries that expressed interest needs ORMEP to go and advocate, needs ORMEP to shake the tree. That's how this money's arrived, because ORMEP has been working for it. They don't get any of this money or these grants. They will get money if you donate tonight. So please, if this is moving you, if it's interesting you, please donate now. You can see the stuff on the screen.